Today, we're diving into rare Japanese performance cars from the 2000s that are no longer just legends, they're serious investments. These are limited-run machines built with obsession, motorsport DNA, and engineering the modern world no longer allows. Some were misunderstood when new, others were driven hard and forgotten, and that's exactly why clean examples now command a fortune. As we count down, you'll see how rarity, purity, and performance collide to create cars collectors are chasing worldwide. 12. Honda NSX Type R. The Honda NSX Type R isn't just rare, it's one of the purest, driver-focused machines Japan has ever built. While the standard NSX already shocked the world by showing that a supercar could be reliable, refined, and usable, the Type R took that idea and stripped it down to one brutal philosophy: performance above everything. At its heart is a naturally aspirated 3.2-liter V6 engine, hand-balanced and blueprinted by Honda's master engineers. It produces 290 horsepower and 224 pound-feet of torque, delivered with razor-sharp throttle response that modern turbocharged supercars struggle to replicate. Power goes straight to the rear wheels, allowing the NSX Type R to sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 4.6 seconds, with a top speed of approximately 175 miles per hour. But numbers alone don't explain why this car is so special. Honda went on an extreme weight reduction mission. Sound deadening? Gone. Air conditioning? Optional. Lightweight Recaro bucket seats, thinner glass, and forged wheels brought the curb weight down to roughly 1,270 kilograms, 2,800 pounds, astonishingly light for a supercar of its era. The result is a car that feels alive at every speed, communicating every inch of road directly to the driver. And then there's the rarity. Honda produced fewer than 1,500 NSX Type R units worldwide, with the earliest NA1 versions limited to just a few hundred. Many were driven hard, tracked relentlessly, or modified, making clean, original examples incredibly scarce today. That combination of purity, engineering obsession, and limited production has turned the NSX Type R into a collector's dream. Prices have surged into supercar territory, and demand continues to rise as enthusiasts realize this was Honda at its absolute peak. And the next car on our list proves that when Japan builds a performance legend in limited numbers, the world never forgets, and the value only goes up from here. 11. Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 9 MR. If you think all four-door sedans from the 2000s are just practical daily drivers, the Lancer Evolution 9 MR exists to completely destroy that idea. This wasn't just another Evo. This was Mitsubishi quietly building one of the most hardcore, track-focused machines of its era, then letting only a handful of people get their hands on it. The MR badge wasn't cosmetic. It stood for Mitsubishi Racing, and everything about this car was engineered with obsession-level detail. Lightweight aluminum roof panels, sharper suspension tuning, quicker steering response, and Brembo brakes turned the Evo 9 MR into something that felt closer to a street-legal rally car than a sedan. With a curb weight of around 1,400 kilograms, the car felt planted yet explosive, and the Super AYC all-wheel drive system could pull you through corners in ways that felt almost unnatural. From the inside, it was raw and purposeful. Minimal distractions, aggressive Recaro seats, and a cockpit that made you feel like every drive mattered. This wasn't built for comfort or mass appeal. It was built for drivers who knew exactly what they were buying and why it would never be cheap again. Under the hood sat the legendary 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4 4G63, producing 286 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque, numbers that barely hint at how violent the delivery felt. The Evo 9 MR could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 4.5 seconds and push to a top speed of roughly 155 miles per hour. But the real magic was how effortlessly it carried speed through corners. Only around 2,000 units of the MR were produced, making it one of the rarest and most desirable evolutions ever built. Today, clean examples are selling for staggering prices, and collectors know why. This is the kind of car that will never be made again. A four-door, manual, turbocharged, rally-bred monster that looks subtle, drives ferociously, and is quietly becoming automotive gold. 10. Toyota Supra MK4. The Toyota Supra MK4, especially the late production models, is no longer just a legendary JDM icon. It's one of the most valuable Japanese performance cars ever built. By the time Toyota reached the final years of Mk4 production, the Supra had evolved into something brutally refined, combining raw power with bulletproof engineering that few cars before or since could match. At the heart of the late-production Supra sits the legendary 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged 2JZ GTE inline-6, an engine that became famous for its strength, reliability, and almost mythical tuning potential. From the factory, it produced 320 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque, sending power to the rear wheels through a 6-speed manual gearbox. That setup allowed the Supra to sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 4.6 seconds, with a factory-limited top speed of 155 miles per hour, though unrestricted cars easily pushed far beyond that. Despite its performance, the Supra was built to last. With a curb weight of roughly 1,560 kilograms, 3,440 pounds, it wasn't the lightest sports car of its era, but the balance, stability, and sheer durability of the chassis made it a monster on both street and track. Late production Supras also benefited from improved reliability tweaks and stronger components, making them the most desirable versions today. Production numbers are where things get serious. Manual, twin-turbo, late production Supras were built in very limited quantities, especially outside Japan, and many were heavily modified or destroyed over time. Clean, original examples are now incredibly rare, and collectors are paying the price. Auction values have soared into six-figure territory, with some pristine cars selling for more than modern supercars. The Mark IV Supra isn't just remembered, it's hunted, a machine that defined an era and proved that Japanese engineering could rival the best in the world. And the next car on our list takes rarity even further, a limited-run Japanese performance machine built for purists, now quietly becoming one of the most valuable cars of its generation. 9. Mazda RX-7 Spirit R. The Mazda RX-7 Spirit R is the final, most refined, and most desirable version of one of Japan's most iconic sports cars. Built as a farewell to the FD generation, the Spirit R represents Mazda at its most emotional, a last stand for the rotary engine before tightening regulations and changing times closed the chapter forever. Under the hood is the legendary 1.3-liter twin-rotor 13B REW, a sequential twin-turbo rotary that delivers 276 horsepower and 231 pound-feet of torque. While those numbers may seem modest on paper, the way the Spirit R delivers its power is unforgettable. With a curb weight of just around 1,270 kilograms, 2,800 pounds, the RX-7 Spirit R rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 4.8 seconds, with a top speed of about 155 miles per hour. The balance, throttle response, and high-revving nature of the rotary give it a driving feel that few cars, even today, can match. Mazda refined everything for the Spirit R. Improved suspension tuning, upgraded brakes, lightweight components, and subtle aerodynamic tweaks turned an already brilliant chassis into something truly special. The steering feels alive. The car rotates effortlessly through corners, and every drive feels like an event. This wasn't about brute force, it was about connection. Rarity is where the Spirit R becomes truly legendary. Mazda produced just over 1,500 units worldwide, split into different configurations, with manual versions being the most sought after today. Many were driven hard, modified, or lost over time, making clean, original examples incredibly scarce. That combination of final edition status, rotary purity, and limited production has sent values soaring. The RX-7 Spirit R is no longer just a sports car. It's a collector's masterpiece and a symbol of an era that will never return. And the next car on our list takes a very different approach to performance, combining luxury, understated design, and one of the most powerful engines Toyota ever built. 8. Toyota Aristo V300. The Toyota Aristo V300 is proof that true performance doesn't always need loud styling or aggressive wings to make a statement. On the surface, it looks like a refined executive sedan, understated, heavy, and quietly luxurious. But hidden beneath that calm exterior is one of the most legendary powertrains Toyota has ever built. Under the hood sits the iconic 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged 2JZ GTE inline-6, the same engine that made the Supra Mark IV a global phenomenon. In the Aristo V300, it produces 276 246 horsepower and around 318 pound-feet of torque, delivering effortless, wave-like acceleration that feels relentless rather than explosive. Despite weighing approximately 1,620 kilograms, 3,570 pounds, the Aristo V300 surges from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.5 seconds, with a factory-limited top speed of 155 miles per hour. Impressive numbers for a luxury sedan of its era. What makes the Aristo truly special is how it blends performance with comfort. Power is delivered smoothly through an automatic transmission, making it deceptively fast in real-world driving. The chassis remains composed at high speeds, the ride stays refined, and the car devours long distances with ease. It's a sleeper in the purest sense, a car that surprises almost everyone who underestimates it. Production numbers were never massive, and many Aristos were driven hard, modified, or exported over the years. Clean, original V300 models, especially with low mileage, have become increasingly rare. As collectors begin to chase anything powered by the 2JZ GTE, the Aristo's value has risen sharply, earning it newfound respect in the JDM collector world. The Aristo V300 represents a different side of Japanese performance, subtle, intelligent, and brutally effective when pushed. And the next car on our list shifts gears completely, trading luxury for raw aggression and track-focused intent. 7. Nissan 350Z Nismo. The Nissan 350Z Nismo is what happens when Nissan takes a raw sports car and turns the volume all the way up. Built as the most hardcore, track-focused version of the Z33, the Nismo wasn't about comfort or mass appeal. It was about sharpening the 350Z into something far more serious, far more aggressive, and far more collectible. Power comes from a revised 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, VQ35HR, producing 306 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque, sent straight to the rear wheels through a close-ratio 6-speed manual. With a curb weight of roughly 1,530 kilograms, 3,370 pounds, the 350Z Nismo launches from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5 seconds and pushes on to a top speed of approximately 155 miles per hour. But the real transformation isn't just in straight-line numbers, it's in how the car feels. Nismo completely reworked the chassis. A stiffer body shell, upgraded suspension, larger Brembo brakes, lightweight forged wheels, and aggressive aerodynamics turned the 350Z into a precision weapon. The car sits lower, turns sharper, and feels planted at speeds where the standard Z begins to feel soft. Every input feels direct, mechanical, and intentional, the kind of driving experience that modern cars rarely offer. Rarity is a major part of the Nismo's appeal. Nissan produced only around 1,600 units globally, making it the rarest factory 350Z ever built. Many were driven hard or modified, which means clean, original examples are becoming increasingly difficult to find. As interest in early 2000s Japanese performance cars continues to surge, the 350Z Nismo has quietly transformed from a niche enthusiast car into a serious collector piece. The 350Z Nismo stands as a reminder of an era when Nissan still built uncompromising driver's cars, loud, raw, and unapologetically focused. And the next car on our list takes that same philosophy but applies it to a very different engine concept, one that would mark the final chapter of Mazda's rotary story. 6. Mazda RX-8 Spirit R. The Mazda RX-8 Spirit R is the final, most focused expression of Mazda's rotary philosophy, a last stand for an engine layout the world never fully understood. While the standard RX-8 was praised for balance and handling, the Spirit R took everything Mazda had learned and refined it into a true farewell edition, built for enthusiasts who valued precision over brute force. At its core is the 1.3-liter Renesis twin-rotor rotary engine, producing 231 horsepower and 159 pound-feet of torque in manual form. Those numbers may not sound outrageous, but paired with a near-perfect chassis and a curb weight of roughly 1,400 kilograms, 3,085 pounds, the Spirit R delivers an experience that's all about momentum and connection. The car runs from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6 seconds and reaches a top speed of approximately 146 miles per hour, but its true strength lies in how effortlessly it carries speed through corners. Mazda Mazda sharpened the Spirit R with upgraded suspension tuning, larger brakes, lightweight wheels, and subtle aerodynamic tweaks. The steering is razor sharp, the chassis feels perfectly neutral, and the rotary's smooth, high-revving nature encourages drivers to push harder with confidence. It's a car that rewards skill, patience, and precision, not just throttle input. Rarity plays a huge role in its rising value. Mazda built just over 1,000 Spirit R units worldwide, split between different configurations, with manual versions being the most desirable today. As emissions regulations tightened and rotary development ended, the Spirit R became a symbol of a lost engineering path, one that Mazda may never revisit. Today, the RX-8 Spirit R is no longer just the final RX-8. It's the closing chapter of Mazda's rotary era, and collectors are finally giving it the respect it deserves. And the next car on our list continues that theme of purity, a lightweight, high-revving roadster built with one goal in mind: driver engagement above all else. 5. Honda S2000 CR. The Honda S2000 CR is Honda's purest expression of what a driver's car should be: lighter, sharper, and more focused than any standard S2000 before it. CR stands for Club Racer, and this wasn't marketing talk. Honda stripped the car down and rebuilt it for people who cared more about feel than comfort, creating one of the most engaging roadsters of the 2000s. Power comes from the legendary 2.2-liter naturally aspirated inline-4 F22C1, producing 237 horsepower and 162 pound-feet of torque. It doesn't rely on turbos or tricks, just razor-sharp throttle response and an 8,200 RPM redline that begs to be chased. With a curb weight of around 1,260 kilograms, 2,780 pounds, the S2000 CR launches from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.5 seconds and reaches a top speed near 150 miles per hour. But the real magic is how alive it feels at every speed. Honda removed the soft top, added a rigid, hard roof, lightweight wheels, stiffer suspension, larger brakes, and aerodynamic enhancements that increased downforce. The result is a car that feels locked in, perfectly balanced, and endlessly rewarding on a twisty road or track. Every input feels intentional: steering, throttle, and gear changes all working in perfect harmony. Production numbers were extremely limited. Honda built fewer than 700 S2000 CR units worldwide, all for select markets, instantly making it one of the rarest Hondas ever sold. Today, clean examples are climbing rapidly in value, as collectors recognize this as the final, most focused version of a modern classic. The S2000 CR represents Honda at its most uncompromising, a car built purely for the joy of driving. And the next car on our list takes that same obsession with precision and applies it to rally-bred performance, creating one of Subaru's most exclusive road cars ever. 4. Subaru Impreza WRX STI S204. The Subaru Impreza WRX STI S204 is the most extreme road-going STI Subaru ever built, a car engineered not for mass production, but for absolute control. Developed by Subaru Technica International, the S204 was a no-compromise evolution of the WRX STI, tuned specifically for high-speed stability and track-level precision. Under the hood sits a hand-finished 2-liter turbocharged flat-4 EJ20, producing 320 horsepower and 318 pound-feet of torque, a significant jump over the standard STI of the time. With Subaru's legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive and a curb weight of approximately 1,480 kilograms, 3,260 pounds, the S204 rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 4.7 seconds, with a top speed of roughly 155 miles per hour. The power delivery is urgent, relentless, and perfectly matched to the chassis. But the S204 isn't just about speed. Subaru reinforced the body, sharpened the suspension, fitted larger Brembo brakes, lightweight wheels, and aggressive aero that provided real downforce at high speed. The car feels planted, confidence-inspiring, and brutally effective. The kind of machine that rewards commitment and precision rather than than reckless inputs. Rarity is what truly defines the S2004. Subaru built only 600 units, all exclusively for the Japanese market. Many were driven hard, tracked, or modified, making untouched examples incredibly scarce today. As collectors chase the most authentic, motorsport-derived STIs, the S2004 has emerged as one of the most valuable and desirable Subaru road cars ever made. The S2004 isn't just an STI, it's Subaru's rally DNA distilled into its purest street-legal form. 3. Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6 Tommi Mäkinen Edition. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6 Tommi Mäkinen Edition is not just a special version of an Evo, it's a rolling tribute to one of the most dominant eras in rally history. Built to celebrate Tommi Mäkinen's 4 consecutive World Rally Championship titles, this car is as close as Mitsubishi ever came to selling a street-legal WRC machine to the public. Power comes from the legendary 2-liter turbocharged 4G63 inline-4, officially rated at 276 horsepower under Japan's Gentleman's Agreement, but widely believed to produce closer to 300 horsepower with 275 pound-feet of torque. Thanks to a curb weight of just around 1,360 kilograms, 2,998 pounds, and Mitsubishi's advanced all-wheel drive system, the Tommi Mäkinen Edition launches from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 4.4 seconds, with a top speed of about 155 miles per hour. But like all great rally cars, the real magic isn't in straight lines. It's in how violently and confidently it attacks corners. Mitsubishi didn't stop at engine tuning. The TME received a faster spooling titanium aluminide turbocharger, revised ECU mapping, a shorter steering rack, unique suspension tuning, and a lower ride height for sharper turn-in. The result is a car that feels alive, aggressive, and endlessly eager to be driven hard. Every input is met with instant response, making it one of the most engaging Evos ever produced. Production numbers add to its legend. Mitsubishi built around 2,500 Tommi Mäkinen editions, making it far rarer than standard Evo models. Many were rallied, raced, or modified, leaving very few clean, original examples today. As collectors increasingly chase cars with real motorsport pedigree, values for the TME have surged dramatically. The Evo 6 Tommi Mäkinen edition represents Mitsubishi at its absolute peak, raw, focused, and built with championship DNA running through every bolt. And the next car on our list takes a more refined approach to performance, blending advanced engineering with everyday usability. Coming up next is a machine that proves speed and sophistication can exist in perfect balance. 02. Nissan GT-R R35 SpecV. The Nissan GT-R R35 SpecV is the most extreme, stripped-down, and exclusive version of Godzilla ever sold to the public. A car built not for comfort, not for mass appeal, but for absolute performance. While the standard R35 already rewrote the supercar rulebook, the SpecV took that formula and sharpened it into something far more dangerous and far more valuable. Power comes from Nissan's hand-assembled 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6, VR38DETT, producing 478 horsepower and 434 pound-feet of torque. On paper, that doesn't sound wildly different from a regular GT-R, but the magic is in how the SpecV delivers it. Revised boost control, sharper throttle response, and aggressive calibration make the car feel brutally immediate. The result is a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of around 3.0 seconds and a top speed approaching 190 miles per hour, delivered with relentless force and zero drama. What truly sets the SpecV apart is weight reduction. Nissan removed the rear seats, added extensive carbon fiber body panels, a titanium exhaust, and massive carbon ceramic brakes, cutting weight by roughly 60 kilograms, 132 pounds. The final curb weight sits near 1,680 kilograms, 3,700 pounds, making it lighter, tighter, and far more track-focused than any other R35. Then comes the rarity. Nissan built approximately 40 SpecV units, all sold exclusively in Japan, at a price that shocked buyers even back then. Many enthusiasts never saw one in person, and that scarcity has turned the SpecV into a modern JDM unicorn. Today, the GT-R SpecV is no longer just a high-performance performance car. It's a collector asset. Values have climbed into supercar territory, driven by its limited production, uncompromising design, and status as the most hardcore R35 ever made. And the next car on our list proves that when Japanese manufacturers go all in on motorsport heritage, the results become priceless. 1. Nissan Skyline GTR R34 V-Spec 2 NER. The Nissan Skyline GTR R34 V-Spec 2 NER stands at the absolute peak of the GTR legacy, the final, most refined, and most desirable evolution of an icon that reshaped the performance world forever. Built as a farewell to the R34 generation, the NER edition was named after the Nürburgring and engineered with a level of precision that made it feel more like a race car than a road car. At its core is the legendary 2.6-liter twin-turbo RB26 DETT N1 inline 6, featuring reinforced internals originally designed for endurance racing. Officially rated at 276 horsepower, the NER comfortably produced 330 to 350 horsepower and around 290 pound-feet of torque in real-world form. With a curb weight of approximately 1,560 kilograms, 3,440 pounds, and Nissan's Atessa ETS Pro all-wheel drive system, the NER rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds, with a de-restricted top speed exceeding 170 miles per hour. But the numbers only tell part of the story. The V-Spec 2 NER received upgraded suspension tuning, larger Brembo brakes, improved aerodynamics, and Super Hicus rear-wheel steering, giving it uncanny grip and razor-sharp control at high speed. It doesn't just go fast, it feels locked to the road, rewarding confidence and precision with relentless pace. Every corner feels calculated, every throttle input answered instantly. Rarity is what elevates the NER into legend status. Nissan produced only 1,003 units, many of which were driven hard, modified, or lost over time. Clean, original examples are now incredibly scarce, and collectors around the world are willing to pay supercar money to secure one. The R34 V-Spec 2 NER isn't just a GTR, it's the closing chapter of a golden era, a machine built before regulations and technology changed performance cars forever. These cars were never meant to be ordinary, and that's exactly why they're priceless today. Every year, fewer survive, and every year, their value climbs higher. The real question isn't if they'll keep rising, it's who will still be able to afford them. Like, subscribe, and stay close. The next legends are already disappearing.